Hola, bienvenidos a la lección 8.4. Continuamos con comparaciones, pero vamos a hablar del superlativo. We're going to be continuing our study of comparisons, but specifically the use of superlatives. Superlatives is the moment where you would pick one out of a category to assign it the best, right? The strongest, the tallest. Similar to English, we'll have a construction of an article like the something out of this group. So, for example, the youngest person in the class, the tallest boy in the family, the smartest girl in the group. So, those are different types of superlatives. And we also have something where we have a specific way we can change an adjective to be a superlative. So just hold on for that. It's going to be súper interesante because this is the superlativo. In, again, Spanish and English, we use these to express the highest, or it could be the lowest degree, right? The worst, the smallest, the craziest. Different types of adjectives can be used as well as mostly adjectives we'll focus on here. So let's look at some examples. We have the best. Now, it could be the best, el mejor, or la mejor. Why? Because it depends on the gender of the category. The best burger, la mejor hamburguesa. The best teacher, el mejor profesor. Or it could be la mejor profesora. The best book, el mejor libro. The best movie, la mejor película. So you see, I picked the article el or la based on the category that I was choosing. We can have the same thing happen with examples like el peor or la peor. So I can say, for example, las peores papas fritas de comida rápida. Probably, in my opinion, the worst French fries would be Burger King. I don't know, Burger King, you gotta come with it. So las peores papas fritas son de Burger King. El más alto, la más alta. So be very, very careful here when using el or la or los or las due to the gender of the noun in question. Therefore, we will have the following construction. Some article that matches that noun group. La hamburguesa más sabrosa de comida rápida. The construction is used to form superlatives. This one. Note that the noun is always preceded by an article. And then de will be used before we mention our category. Again, examples are key here for us. You can't omit the noun if the person, place, or thing referred to is clear. So what do we mean by that? El restaurante Las Delicias? Now that we know we're mentioning that place, es el más elegante. Now, I could have said es el restaurante más elegante de. See how that formula plays out? El. Now, I can say restaurante if we're not sure. Like, if I just want to just come out of nowhere and say the best restaurant in Harrisburg, then I say el mejor restaurante de Harrisburg es. And really, I don't even know. So I'm going to leave you to fill in the blank. But if we're talking about restaurants and we know this, then you say, el mejor es, right? The best one is el mejor. I can just say el mejor because we can do constructions like that. El más elegante de la ciudad. El restaurante más elegante de. See how that played out there? Recomiendo el pollo asado. El pollo asado es el. Now, we can mention pollo again. We don't have to, but let's assume we did. El pollo más sabroso del menú. Because it's de el menú, we make it del menú. Now, this person just said el más sabroso. See, so they skipped mentioning the noun because it was clear we were talking about pollo asado. We went over these irregular superlatives in our last lesson, but just to go over them again, remember that we would not say, for example, más bueno, más malo. Más grande makes sense if it's size, but not with age. Más pequeño could be size, but not age. And then joven, we would not say, well, I have heard más joven, but it's okay. We mean someone's younger. Like For example, let's say, wow, you look so much younger in that photo. Te ves más joven. Then that could be a context for it. But in general, when you're comparing ages, someone being the youngest, then we're going to use these. The only difference from this list as our last list was these have articles because it's the best. It's not just better, it's the best. It's not just worse, it's the worst with the T. It's not older, it's the oldest. It's not younger, it's the youngest. So that's the difference. But again, very similar to what we were just doing in the last lesson. This is how you make an adjective extremely, super, or very. I don't think we have something like this in English. We just say super in front. But you can take malo. You would chop off the O and add isimo or isima. It depends what you're ultimately going to do, but let's just start with the isimo. Malísimo. El bistec está malísimo. You can do something like this with mucho. Mucho, take off the O and add muchísimo. People use this a lot when they say muchísimas gracias. But I wanted you to see that it's not just isimo all the time. It could be muchísimas. Like someone who has so many debts, like, oh man, tengo muchísimas deudas. Not every single adjective is going to make sense. Like, let me take interesante. Interesante, interesantísimo. I mean, you can push some of these, but some just don't flow as naturally as others. These work really nicely. So let's try to say these. Try to repeat after me, por favor. Riquísimo. Facilísimo. Larguísimo. Look what happened to largo. When you took off the O and added the I, you don't want to say larguísimo. So we added a U. That's why we're noting these spelling changes. Same thing, riquísimo changed to QU. This one only lost its accent off the A, so it wasn't that different. Jovencísimo. I'll be honest, I didn't even know that people said that, so here you go, jovencísimo. Feliz could be felicísimo. Again, not all of these are used as often as others. Wow, let's try this one. Now, this adjective is trabajador. Trabajadorcísimo. You can tell I've never said it in my life. Trabajadorcísimo. We tend to be more negative sometimes as a people. And I say as a people because it's not just in Spanish culture. So sometimes the negative ones like gordísimo, like feísimo, those just roll off my tongue like I just said them yesterday. And vaguísimo. Una persona vaga is lazy. Vaguísimo. But have I ever said trabajadorcísimo? No, because we tend to not exaggerate good qualities. We tend to exaggerate poor qualities. All right, so based on what we just went over, again, not as much information. It's really the article in using de instead of que like we were used to in the previous. So let's see how you can do here. Inténtalo just has 4. That's it. This little tiny inténtalo. Okay, so pause here and try these, and then I'm going to go over the answers with you. All right, here we go. All right, so Mónica es la más inteligente de todas. Ricardo y Tomás son the least boring. Okay, so los, because there's Ricardo y Tomás, los menos aburridos de la fiesta. Because we can do the highest category or the lowest. So they are the least boring, los menos aburridos. Mi profesor de biología es el mayor, the oldest de la universidad. Miguel y Antonio son the worst students. Oh no, los peores. Estudiantes was already here for me. All right, that was a quick one. Perfecto. Buenísimo. Buenísimo trabajo. You can take bueno and make it buenísimo. People do that a lot. All right, so I mean, honestly, be careful with these spelling changes on making your absolute superlative. That's what this is called. The absolute superlative. Wow, very nice. Drop the final vowel and then add isimo, but it can become isima or isimos or isimas. Like again, muchísimas gracias to match gracias. Okay, so really from here forward, it's just going over some practice and getting used to seeing it with the article. Don't forget the next tutorial that's in line for you. Y nos vemos en el próximo video. Muchas gracias. Or should I say muchísimas gracias?